Have you ever felt like a fraud? You probably, like myself, have at some point felt like, you know, I wonder what people truly think. If that's you, let me see your hand. Well, I know I can't see your hand, but I would imagine that you too have had this feeling at times. And most times when you have these feelings or this feeling, it's at a time when it's very critical for you. You are about to do something important, or you're doing something that you think is important and it's a must, that you must do this thing, right? But then you have this feeling inside of you, right? And this feeling is, I wonder what people may think about me. Now we project that onto others, and these feelings are just what they are. And it's one of those feelings that you may have heard that people call also the imposter syndrome. And this idea of feeling like an imposter, what I do know is this: every level that you go up in life, every ladder that you're climbing the ladder and moving up, there's somewhere along the line you're going to feel this inertia. Everyone feels it at times. You're not the only one, my friend, and that's a good news. You're not the only one. It feels that way when you're going through your time of feeling like a fraud. It's a terrible feeling, right? It's a terrible feeling that you have, and you're thinking, who else know? Who else know? It's almost like, you put in on the shades and you're wondering behind the shades. Now this guy looks good, right? Man, look at him. Take a picture. Go ahead. Take your still shot. You have one opportunity, but it's gone. It's here. It's gone. But you put it on almost like you put your shade on at night. And by the way, what are your thoughts about people who wear sunglasses at nights? Now I know there are exceptions, so don't get me. I'm not. Don't be so technical and say Kings. I know people who are blind. I get it. They wear shades, sunglasses at night. Some people who have problem with the light. I get it. But in general, what's your thoughts about people who wear sunglasses at night? I'm thinking, what are they hiding? And somehow people who are thinking of you as you think they're thinking of you as a fraud or an imposter, and you have these feelings of like a fraud. You're wondering, okay, who else is really seeing and knowing? I know that for me, I've had these feelings at different times in my life. Thank God they don't last forever, because once I get doing something, it goes away. But initially, I have felt this, and I know I will feel this for a long time. All of us will have these feelings. The question is, when you have them, what do you do? What do you do with these feelings? And I want to share with you three things that you can do to help you when you're feeling like a fraud. And we see how that looks in a few moments. Before I share those three things you can do when you feel like a fraud, right? Before I share these three things that you can do, let me quickly just introduce myself, just in case you're wondering who I am. I'm Kingsley Grant, and I am the host of the Kingsley Grant Show, a podcast that has to do with leadership and emotional intelligence. The author of the book, The Intelligent Leader: Succeed Where Others Fail and Become the Leader Everyone Loves and Wants to Follow, and other books as well. I'm also helping other fellow therapists, psychotherapists who are in practice to really increase their revenue without adding more clients to their schedule. That's what I want to do. And I'll share more about that as time goes by. So if you know somebody who really is interested in this, you can help them. You can have them go to kingsgrant.com/private practice. And you'll see, you'll see at the bottom of the screen, scrolling, where you can actually find it. So let's just bring that up right now. So make sure you have that. So if you can, well, here's where you find the podcast right there, kingsgrant.com/podcast. You can find the podcast right there. And if you know of somebody who actually is in private practice, you can have them go to kingsgrant.com/private practice, and I'll help them with that. Now, if you're watching this live, put hashtag live and Let me know you're watching live. And if you have a question, you can please ask the question. If you're watching on a replay, please make sure you actually write hashtag replay so I can know that you're watching as well. Now, I really want to thank, I see Gabriel is watching, and I do appreciate Gabriel. Gabriel, hi, how are you? Good to see you live from Ecuador. Good to see you. Thank you for watching, and I do appreciate your support. Glad to see you, my friend. Now, I want to also share with you a few things about, again, as I mentioned before, now if I look away, I'm looking just to make sure I bring up the right thing. And so here we go. We're talking about feeling like a fraud and what does that look like? And I want to share with you then 3 things you can do when you have these feelings. And let me just turn off this scrolling and put another scrolling on really quickly. And so that I can also move on to the next thing which you want to hear, which I'm sure, right? So here we go. Put this other scrolling on instead. Now, let's see here. It's good, it's good to interact with people live. And so I'm going to interact with Gabriel. Gabriel, good to see you. You're doing great, my friend. Awesome. And thank you yourself, my friend. And thank you for watching. Now, I want to mention as well that, let me bring up now, if you're feeling this way, here's what you need to do. So the question is, the question that we had before us, here we go. Come on, come on. Okay. Overcoming imposter syndrome. Overcoming imposter syndrome. What do you do when you're feeling like a fraud? What do you need to do? How do you overcome this inertia? How do you overcome this imposter syndrome that you're feeling? I want to share with you 3 things I mentioned. The first thing I want to share with you is this. You've got to acknowledge the feeling. Acknowledge the feeling. This is very, very important. So many people never take time to acknowledge what it is they're truly feeling. Because feeling like a fraud is just a general feeling. It's an overview. It's a macro view. It's a category. Because you can't really feel like a fraud. What does that feel like? So you have to look below. What are you actually feeling? What you're actually feeling is something to do with fear or scared. And so then you can begin to look under that. What is below that? What is below that? This is where a good coach can come in to help you to dig below and find out what's going on, because they want to help you to realize that it's just not this category of imposter syndrome or this category of fraud. It's something else that is weighing under that, and somehow they can help you. Like, for example, when I work with my clients, I help them realize it's not just a fraud, it's fraud. Because how do you feel fraud? How do you feel imposter? You don't. There's a true feeling that's below that you got to find out and acknowledge the feeling. And it most times it's fear, scared, right? And that is what you need to acknowledge. That's the first thing you need to do. Okay. The second thing you need to do is process the feeling. Process the feeling. King said, how do you do that? Well, this is really where you need to find someone else. I have a good friend. His name is Bill Griggs. And if Bill is watching, hey, Bill, shout out to you. Now, Bill becomes a sounding board for me, and I become a sounding board for him. But I have also other friends, that I do go to. Each week, I meet with 2 other people. We get together. I won't call their names because they're not giving me permission to call their names. But I meet with them, and we have a mastermind. I bounce ideas off them. I process what I'm feeling. They process what they're feeling with me. So when you acknowledge a feeling and you can take that somewhere it's safe, take it to a safe place, people you can trust, and process the feeling with them, because you want to walk through that. You want to talk through that. You want to know that you're not the only one who felt that. So get into a group. I talk about in a past show. You might want to go back and watch my YouTube channel, Kingsley Grant, and you can find that other episode I did about mentorship and also about mastermind, because that is where you're going to find people who can process a feeling with, so you don't constantly have this fraud-like feeling. And the third thing, and the most important of what I'm going to share, is the third thing. The third thing you need to do is take action. Take action. Now, I want to present to you at the end of this video tonight, this live presentation. I want to present to you an opportunity where you can take action, especially as you get into a new year, 2021. So hang in there. Don't leave. I'm going to share with you that opportunity shortly. Now, Taking action is the most important thing you can do to overcome inertia, overcome this fraud like feeling. But that's the hardest thing to do because that's where we trip up. That's where we just don't feel like we ought to go. When I started this show, I delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. I put it off. I processed it. I knew what I was feeling. I processed with some friends, as I mentioned earlier, and yet I never actually got rid of the feeling. It was sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. When I decided to take action, imperfect action, that's the key. Take action is imperfect. It's not perfect. It should not be perfect. When I took that imperfect action, boom, then it started. I really felt the release of this thing. Now, do I still feel a little bit of that? Yes, but not enough to stop me because I would not be here doing what it is I'm doing. And then here's what happened. When you're able to do all of that, you begin to build confidence. You build confidence, and confidence is so important for you. If you're going to overcome this imposter fraud like feeling, this is a necessary step. I mean, that's a result that comes, but this result of confidence doesn't come because you want to feel confident. Some people are saying, I don't feel confident enough. And so they sit on things and never do anything because they don't feel confident enough. My friend, confidence is not something you start with. Confidence is something you get as you go. I know the popular idea is get confident, feel confident, but you're not going to feel confident. If you could, you would have and started whatever it was. You start and you feel confident as it go. And I'll do another show on that. Now, I mentioned earlier that I want to share with you something I really want you to be thinking about. And so we talk about building confidence and overcoming the inertia, overcoming the imposter syndrome, overcoming the feeling as if you are a fraud. We talked about that, right? Now, here's the thing. I love this definition of imposter on Wikipedia. It says imposter syndrome, aka fraud syndrome, or the imposter experience, is a psychological pattern in which individual doubts their skills, their talents, or accomplishments, and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. See the fear, see the feelings word, fear. That is what you need to acknowledge. They have a fear of being exposed as a fraud, but the problem is they're going by how they feel, and feeling dictates how they behave. So that's where we need to get it past. Now, if you're planning for 2021 and you're thinking, man, I want to have a different year, and the 2020 has been one of those years, I have a suggestion for you, because all I'm sharing with you here is so important. But maybe in 2021, what you want to do is something that has to do with income or revenue, and somehow you're struggling and you feel like an imposter. You feel like doing something, but something is holding you back. Well, I want to share with you an opportunity that is available to you starting in January for 8 weeks. Now, if I could say to you, what if I could share with you an idea of how you can probably make a six-figure income, okay? A six-figure income next year in 2021. What would you say? Now you're saying, Kingsley, come on, take off the shades, right? You might say, Kingsley, come on, you're putting on the shade right now. Take on the shade and talk to me. All right. Well, it's an opportunity. You may not believe it yet, but I tell you, I want to present this opportunity to you because in 2021, in just a few weeks, there's a gentleman that I follow. I admire his work, his results. He is going to share with us how to grow a six-figure business in 2021 on autopilot. Even if you are brand new and have no idea where to start. Imagine what a huge promise. That is a huge promise, right? Can he live up to it? Well, let me just say this. He's doing it and he's sharing that with us. And I want you to be a part of this. Now, if this is something that truly interests you, which I hope it does, I want you to actually go to KingsleyGrant.com, right? /best year. KingsleyGrant.com/best year. And there you'll find how to access what I've just showed you. So how to access this very thing of this idea of grow a six-figure business in 2021 on autopilot, go to KingsleyGrant.com/best year, and you'll get all the information you need right then and there. And I want you to go and avail yourself to that. Okay, that's very, very important to do that. Now, we're almost coming to the end here. I went a bit longer tonight because I wanted to share with you about overcoming this imposter fraud-like feeling. And I hope this was helpful. And let me know, share with me. And like you saw earlier, someone came on and I just say hi to them. If you want to make a comment in any of the live show, make sure you give StreamYard a permission to allow you to access and give make a comment or a question, and I can bring you up so everyone can see that. Now, my friend, I want to say thank you so very much for taking the time. And don't forget to go to kingsofgrant.com, right? kingsofgrant.com/best year to be able to access what I just told you, how you can plan for 2021 and have your best year, especially financially. If that is something you want to do, check that out right before we wrap things up here. Now, my friend, thank you so very much for taking the time to watch, to listen. Let me hear from you what your thoughts are. Are these helpful? Are you getting some value from this? And let me know. I really appreciate hearing back from you, and I can keep going and bringing you value after value after value, right? My friends, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Now you take this information and go and inspire someone with that. We call that around here Kingspire. So go and Kingspire someone with the information you have received. And don't forget this idea, as we say tonight, as we wrap things up, I want to say thank you so very much for taking the time to listen. Peace out. God bless. And I'll see you on the flip side. Yeah.